Henning Kraggerud bei mir. Ausgezeichnet für die Mozart-Aufnahmen. You have got the prize for Mozart. We've been talking about that. Mozart is always very sweet, one says, and very simple, because the notes seem to be very simple. But is it the magic what is in between the notes?
Well, I think Mozart always wanted to write opera in everything he did. So there is like an underscoring of opera, ballet in the music. Not particularly written into the music, so you can say it lies between the music. You had to try to catch the character of the music, dance it, sing it as it were opera. That way I think you can find the fun of Mozart and the greatness of his music.
That's what a lot of people say, that there's lots of opera in the music of Mozart. And I always wonder, what does it mean? Because opera, for me, is there's a text and there's a subtext by music, the psychological balance or whatever. But you just have the notes, you just have the music, you don't have the text. Do you invent the text if you say something like that?
In a way I do. So you have a theme like in the Fifth Concerto. Yeah. It's like a question. Do you want to come home with me? And then the character answers, no, I'm not allowed by my mother. So it is. You can sometimes think, what kind of text would it have been if it were an opera? But then other times in these three concertos, there are actually quotes from operas as well. So the G major concerto, this is stolen from an aria. Mm-hmm. And the famous Turkish scene in the Fifth Concerto, he used in a major version in an opera earlier. So it is also like he smuggles in ballets and arias. And the way the Fifth Concerto, for instance, starts with Allegro and then suddenly comes an adagio unexpected in the solo violin, it's also like an aria. And for myself, I don't need to have a particular text to it, but I nevertheless try to play it as if it were an opera. And so you
treat this music as a language, basically.
Yes, I believe music is a language, and that indeed Mozart makes that so easy to jump the connection. So
where is the ambivalence in playing a concert? Because if we have an opera, do you want to go out with me? Yes. No, I don't. Yes. But probably in the Mozart opera he would sing yes, but the music says no. So in opera you always have this ambivalence between what it is said, yes, and the music says the contrary. Do we have that in concerts as well?
Well, there is this ambivalence present, but this is fairly early Mozart. The concertos is written when he was only 19 years old, so maybe less so than in the great operas like Figaro and in later production. But still, I think he shows his genius, and even if there isn't a particular text, it contains a lot of this. For instance, a slow movement, you have smile with sorrow, and these typical Mozart and great composers, that the emotions contains several layers. So, but anyway, by actually thinking it is opera and singing it out and dancing it, I personally find inspiration, and I actually make the orchestra quite often in rehearsal stand up and indeed dance to feel that. And this is
what you have in Mozart piano concertos as well. The first time the ambivalence between the solo instrument and the orchestra, there it is as well.
And it's also very, very interesting about the element of dance in Mozart, that at Mozart's time, the level of dancing in the society among Mozart and all the friends, they say were equal to a professional dancer today. It was a dancing society. And Mozart said to one of the singers in Figaro that if he had another life, he would live it as a dancer. And so I think dance, song in Mozart, for me, I always look for that in the score, the possibilities.
And dancing is a freedom of body as well, against the normal moves we are doing. It is a liberation of physics as well. But what I'm interested in, when I listen to your CD, like the cadenzas, you're very free in them. And this is the time where, Mozart was the creator of the music, and you are the recreator of his music again, because just the score doesn't sound. How much freedom can you take then?
Well, I think in life you can have as much freedom as you take. You take the freedom you want. And for me, I had the choice when I wrote these cadenzas. Should I write cadenzas as they did in Mozart's time? and you have examples from the piano concertos and Sinfonia Concertante.
Like a historic building. Yeah.
Or should you treat it somewhat like a extended or a little, how do you say it?
Out of our time?
Or a development section. And so development section started at Mozart's time to get more and more important, of course, further explored by Beethoven. So I use these cadenzas as sort of looking into the coming tradition from Beethoven and onwards, but I use harmonic material used by Mozart himself in his time and modulations, but I can also, when there was a similarities in the fourth concerto with the clarinet concerto, I think, okay, who knows when the harmonies from the clarinet concerto emerges in Mozart's head? So I borrow from the later Mozart, yes. But still, I'm not doing authentic cadenzas as they did in Mozart's time, which were a different type, but it's treated more like a development section in a smaller format.
It's really worth listening to because you get a complete different view on Mozart, and with all you have explained, we say thank you for this music, and it's very inspiring, and we see that Mozart is still a contemporary, isn't he?
There is something timeless about his music, and you can play it again and again. And in this case, when I could work with the excellent Norwegian chamber orchestra, we had so fun rehearsals and concerts. We also made a DVD for Naxos, and I'm very grateful for Naxos and Klaus Heimann for making it possible to do these recordings.
We are grateful to you that we can listen to it. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.